Here we go. Okay, so I look forward to these conversations every single time we get to do this. And so I am thrilled every one of you are here. I'm Leanne Iselda, and we are just going to jump right into this great conversation. And if you don't already have pen and paper, I would tell you you might want to go get it. I always do. I always learn so much, and it helps me to write it down. So, but there's no quiz at the end, so it's not that. Um, so I have the privilege of introducing my long time, very dear friend. We've known each other for more than 30 years, so I could tell you a lot about her. Um, she's a wife, she's a mom, she's a grandma. She is a teacher. She is a science lover. She graduated from Auburn in biology. She is also a nationally board certified functional medicine health and wellness coach. She graduated from the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy, and she owns her own health coaching service, Coach in Tandem. I have loved her help with some of my girls, has been wonderful. But let me tell you one of the things I appreciate and admire the most about you, Losiann, in these conversations is you are so gifted in teaching. And to me, a really good teacher inspires us to want to learn. And when you're teaching, I always want to learn. And so I just feel like that is such a beautiful gift. And I always want to share it with the people I care about. So thank you so
Hmm.
much. I know we're going to talk about gut health going into the holidays. I can't even imagine how a change in diet or more activities, more stress, all those fun things. And gut health, I'm sure we're going to learn a lot. So thank you so much, Lois Ann.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for that sweet introduction. It's very
Yay.
kind. And okay, well let's go. We'll just walk through this and hopefully we'll all learn something and take something away that is helpful. Might just be a little kick in the pants to do something you already knew that was important to do. Hopefully it'll be truly an encouragement. That's just one of my loves is to help us all continue our motivation to take care of our bodies and to enjoy our bodies because they're so incredibly designed. Uh, as Leanne said, I'm a teacher, I'm a health and wellness coach, and I love what I do. If you don't mind, I'm going to share a couple of slides because these really help me stay on track. And so let's see here. Um, all right, can y'all see my slides there? I'm trusting that you can. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we are in the middle of the beginning of our holiday season, one of our biggest holiday seasons, and here in the US anyway, and I would dare to say around the world as well. And a lot of times, as we come into this season, there is a lot of wonderful festivities. There are parties and family gatherings, and there is certainly a lot more to choose from at the grocery store as you walk by all of these, as retailers call them, end caps that, try to grab your attention so you'll just put it in your cart. And all of those things are not usually in our best interest, but certainly can be fun now and again. So, how can we nourish ourselves so that we can truly flourish and feel well through the holidays so that we can get through December and head into January 2026 and say, you know what? I'm feeling pretty good. I want to keep at what I'm doing rather than saying, oh my goodness, I sabotaged my entire month and I don't know where to begin. So that would be something I would hope that would you could walk away with from tonight. And that's why we're going to talk about gut health. Gut health that you probably realize has been in the news for months and months. There's been a lot of hot and heavy science coming out to the public in the last year. Uh, it's been in the science for the last couple of decades in terms of hot and heavy. Uh, and um, and so why is there such a big deal? Why do I even have to be concerned about my gut? And I would love to answer that. One of the reasons is because we have more bacterial cells in and on our bodies than we have human cells. So all of this tissue that you see and everything you don't see is made up of cells. And when cells gather together, it's called tissue. And tissue is then gathered together in a certain way to form organ systems. And we have all of these trillions of cells in our body, but we have 10 times more microbe cells. So 10 times more bacterial cells. We even have viral cells that have a role in our body. So that's pretty cool too. But today we're just going to talk about bacterial cells. They are literally working with and for us if they're in the right, if we have the right number of the right kind. They're also, of course, we live in a broken world, so we have bacteria that are pathogenic and they can cause harm to our bodies. And so, what we want to learn how to do is cause the good bacteria to flourish, whether it's on our skin or in our brain or in our gut. And all around, because all of those areas have and more have microbiomes of their own. We want to cause them to flourish and so that then the rest of our body feels really well. Today we're just going to talk about what's in our gut. So that intestinal area that's in your abdomen that hopefully most of the time is very happy. We all are very disgruntled, if I can use that word, when it's not happy. And here is why. Uh, on the left, you can see, well, look in the center at the body first. So this body shows with every color and every shape where there is a microbiome. So you can see that's an illustration of what I was just saying. Everywhere in our body, we have a microbiome, even in our brains. On the left, these are some things that impact the microbiome of every area of our body. So our genes impact our environment, what we eat, how we live our lives, whether we get sleep and exercise and those sorts of things, our stress, how balanced our hormones are, even the toxins and things from industry in our environment and in our soil. Um, so just an image uh, to remind us that this is about our entire body. What we're going to talk about in our gut is going to impact all of those colors throughout that whole image. What does the microbiome do for you right now while you're sitting here listening to me? One of the things that the good bacterium are doing is to synthesize vitamin B, several vitamin Bs actually, B6, B12, riboflavin, folate, biotin. Um, Synthesize is just a fancy word for to make or to create. The good bacteria in our guts are synthesizing these vitamins from what we eat and from what they eat. And vitamin K is another one that they synthesize. These are all very important to the rest of our body because all of our organ systems need these vitamins. So they're very important. They're also, you've probably heard this part, the healthy bacteria in our gut are helping us digest our food. So they're, making it smaller so that then our intestines can help it be absorbed into our blood, carried throughout our body. That's the nutrient absorption part. That whole digestion and nutrient absorption, when it is healthy and functioning well, you have a very happy intestinal tract. You're not having gas after you eat. You're not having bloating after you eat. You don't have heartburn. You don't have constipation or diarrhea. You're not cramping. You're not having any kind of dysbiosis at all when your gut is functioning. So if you have any of those at any time during your day or week, then you have an imbalance somewhere in your intestinal tract. Another thing that these bacteria are doing is synthesizing our hormones and neurotransmitters. Now, they don't synthesize all hormones or all neurotransmitters, but the micro bacteria in our gut are doing many of them. In fact, 90% of our serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter for the brain, is made in our intestines. 90% of it. That's really stunning. It is very therefore, regulating to our moods. There, there are bacteria in our gut that are, when they're eating this healthy food we've given them, they're forming a precursor to dopamine and epinephrine. There are, I'm not going to get into all of the things that these do, but I know you've heard of these, and these are very helpful to brain health. So they're also synthesizing GABA, which is an actual stress reducer in the body. It inhibits the stress response. So these bacteria are um, incredibly talented. How about that? They're also making sure that we have tissue integrity. So that whole long system that we call our intestines, from small to large, has a lining inside of it, and that lining is delicate. It has to maintain a real integrity and structure in all of the cells that make it up, so that once all the food we have has been digested, then the right particles, the right metabolites will be absorbed through that lining into the capillaries that take it into the blood and service our whole body. So protecting that lining is very key to you and I receiving the nutrients that we need to feel good, to have the energy for the day, to not have a lagging spell in the afternoon. It also, when our lining is very healthy, everything is moving as it should. And so again, if you're not having bowel movements on a regular basis, and I mean daily and 2 and 3 times a day, then things are not super healthy in your gut. These bacteria are also responsible for removing pathogens and toxins that get into our body. They're incredibly skilled at this and are doing it silently. Most of the time, we don't even realize that it's going on, of course, until we get sick and we realize, something is not right. And that's when we start seeing the downside effects of not having a healthy gut. Everybody has heard of GLP-1s nowadays, and our bodies actually produce GLP-1s naturally from our intestines. When you have a healthy biota, these wonderful bacteria are synthesizing GLP-1. And this is a very important metabolite that tells us that we are satiated after we've eaten, that helps us go, okay, that was a good meal, and I'm finished now. And you can walk away from the table. It helps with that appetite regulation, in other words. And it also helps regulate our blood sugar. So when our microbiota have the right things to eat, they can then do all of these things that I'm talking about, including the secretion of GLP-1. Uh, Immune regulation. This is a biggie, and this is a lot of maybe some things you've seen in the news in the last year or so. We now think 80 to 90% of our immune system begins in the gut. The microbes are giving all the immune cells support. They are helping specific immune cells know when to come in and do an attack on an invader. into our bodies. So I like to think of it, when I think of the immune system, I think of the military and I think of infantry and air support and all the different, branches of the military. And we have the reason I think of it that way is that we have all of these different types of immune cells that they're the first responders who come in, and then we have those who follow up. And our microbiota in our gut is responsible for like calling out the troops and helping recognize these invaders and what do they need to be what do they call it in the military? Not to be silenced, although that is one term, uh, but to be dealt with. Let's put it that way. We want the bad guys to be dealt with and to leave our body. Another cool thing that our microbes in our gut do is help with the integrity of um, our capillaries. Those are the capillaries are the smallest of our blood vessels. These are the ones that think about your aorta, that big artery that comes out of your heart. That's the biggest one you see. You can see it on this heart image here. That pumps the most blood, all the blood, out of the heart, and then it starts branching from there. Well, it branches and branches and gets thinner and thinner and thinner until these tiny little capillaries reach something like your gut. Okay, so they're touching all these areas of your gut to then absorb that wonderful nutrition that you've given it. And then it goes back and everything comes back to the heart. Well, we want those vessels to be flexible so that they can maintain their integrity, so that they can take the blood where it needs to go, both to and from the heart. And the microbes in our gut do this by producing anti-inflammatory metabolites. They are incredible at that particular job. So related to that is something else that we now more fully understand than we did even 20 years ago, and that is that all of um, we can say most of disease, if not all disease, starts with inflammation somewhere in the body. And and the microbiome in our bodies helps decrease inflammation. It's very anti-inflammatory with all the, when it's healthy, it's providing all of these things that are above on the slide. And by doing that, it's causing inflammation to be tamped down in all the organ systems of our body, including our brain. And the research now is saying that all of the psychiatric diseases begin in the gut. Remember, I said that neurotransmitters and hormones, many of them are synthesized in the gut. Those are simply communicators. They are signalers to the rest of the body. They help turn things on and turn things off. And and that happens in our brain as well. So healthy gut, healthy brain. And that leads us to basically the idea of that gut-brain axis that you might have heard of, meaning that the brain and the gut are communicating. And the last thing I'm going to mention is just our skin health. When our gut is in good balance and is robustly receiving what it needs, our skin heals from things like psoriasis and eczema and we actually heal more quickly when our gut is in good order from, a cut or a scrape. So this gut-brain axis, uh, what I just want you to notice here is the way that the brain and the gut are communicating is all of these five ways here in the middle that I've put this circle around. I mentioned the immune system. The vagus nerve is a big communicator between the brain and the gut. The enteric part of our nervous system, our neuroendocrine system, that involves our hormones and neurotransmitters, as well as our circulatory system. So it's not just one way that the brain and the gut are communicating, it's through all of these organ systems that the brain and the gut are communicating. So, how in the world can you and I, during this Christmas season, when all of these sugary things are out there just calling our name, and we want to be pleasant guests and we want to be good hosts and hostesses, how do we maintain a healthy gut? So I'm going to just give you a few things that we can do. Um, while you're home and while you have control of what you eat and don't eat, continue to eat real food. Real food is what you recognize as food, not as something that's been colored and repackaged and made into something that is not a food that you would recognize or that your grandmother would recognize. We want to include proteins and fats and complex carbohydrates. We want a well-rounded way of eating because our gut needs all kinds of nutrition from the top of our head to the tips of our toes. We need it all. We need a balance of all real food. And really, half of a plate of lots of vegetables is ideal because the microbes in our gut feed on the fiber from vegetables. That's what they love to eat, and that's what makes them healthy. When they are healthy, they make more of the good ones. They start to reproduce, and we want them reproducing. When they are not being provided lots of vegetables, lots of fiber, then they start to die off because they're not getting the food they need. When they die off, then the bad ones are being fed by the diet that isn't high in fiber. So, keeping it real, making sure we have lots of vegetables in with our proteins and fats. And then also, when we do eat fruits, to keep them low glycemic. And all that means is if you can eat the skin of the fruit, that's generally a low glycemic fruit. So think about it that in your head, like today, what did you have that was included a skin? Well, I had some blueberries and raspberries and strawberries. So those I get to eat the skin of. So they don't raise my blood sugar really high. When I'm eating the skin, that's the fiber for the good bacteria. So fruits are fantastic. We want lots of color with fruits and vegetables. And if we can keep our fruits to mostly just the ones we can eat the skin of, then we're really fueling those good bacteria. And fermented foods, you've probably heard that these are great for your gut. Remember, when you're fueling your gut, when you're thinking about what can I eat for this meal specifically, what can I add? A little helping of something that would fuel my good bacteria. Um, Fermented foods can be something that you can just put a dollop, on of some sauerkraut or some kimchi. You can add some cruciferous vegetables like broccoli or cauliflower, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. Just add a sprinkle of cabbage to your salad that you're having, or use it as lettuce on your sandwich. Do something to add fiber just a little bit even can go a long way. But the fermented foods, the bacteria love. So work towards, you can ferment your own or you can look for them in the grocery store. Just make sure they're fermented and not pickled. Pickled things do not do for the gut what fermented foods do. So fermented is very specific about being a healthy bacterial encourager for our gut. And then the opposite is true with the processed sugary food. Why do we want to keep that low? I bet somebody knows why we want to keep that low. Let me see if I can bring the chat up because I don't see it. So does anybody know why we want to keep sugar low in terms of processed sugar in our bodies? Um, let's see. I don't see any answers yet. Oh, causes dysbiosis. Thank you, Carrie Lynn. Um, unused sugar is stored as fat. Hey, Henry, that's another one. Cancer, hope. Yes, it distorts. The good things going on. Exactly. Yes. So it suppresses the immune system. Yes, you guys got a lot of these. And so great, Elaine. And yes, Leanne, ding, 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 ding. That's what I really want. All of these are true. All of these are absolutely true. And the one I want to focus on is that the unhealthy bacteria feed on processed sugar. That's what they love to eat. And so when we are eating a lot of that, maybe even some of that at every meal or in between every meal, guys, we are sabotaging the healthy bacteria. They're not getting what they need. And we're actually causing the bad bacteria to flourish. It causes them to be able to duplicate and outnumber the good guys. So this is another kind of I hope a visual in our heads to understand that the processed sugars, the muffins and cookies and cakes and pies and all those kinds of things, anything that turns immediately to sugar in our body, those things are fueling the bad bacteria, and we don't want any part of that. We want to be spending most of our time, you might have heard of the 80-20 rule. Um, 80% of the time eating the way that really builds and stewards my body and gives me strength and energy and brain clarity. Maybe during the holidays, allow yourself 20% of the time to, grab something that's very festive and has a good memory for you. So, that is, um, those are some things that we can do for our gut to keep it healthy. Another lifestyle factor that we can do is to sleep. And you know that if you've been to any of my talks before, you know I love to encourage sleep. Sleep is our best friend. And if you're not sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night, even if it's only six, if it's not good six, then let's start working on that. Not hyperventilating about it, but starting to work on how I can make that better. Sleep is a huge time when all those good bacteria get to work and do what they are meant to do. A lot of digestion, most of our absorption happens while we're sleeping, the absorbing of all those good things we've been feeding it all day. So, sleep is very key to our health. So, don't give up on that. Again, don't get stressed about it, but start working on what might I do? Can I make my room darker? Can I make it cooler? What am I doing before my bed, time, couple of hours that is sabotaging my sleep? How can I get off screens an hour or so before? Just those kinds of things that you've read about, you know what to do. I know when you're a young parent, been there. And now I'm a grandparent, so when they're at our house, it's you can be up several times a night. That can be tough. So nourish, sleep, and rest when you can, and know that this is a season. You are going to pass through it, but think about ways you can nourish your rest even during the daytime. When can I grab a nap? With my little one when they're sleeping. So think about ways that you can help yourself. The other thing is exercise. We want to be getting both cardiovascular exercise where we get our heart rate up, as well as strength training. A lot of times we're really good at one or we're really good at the other. But guys, we now know that both of these are very important. So let's figure out a way that we can do both. It will sustain us for the long haul. We want to be strong, we want to be flexible, and we want to have energy. We need both muscles and a healthy gut to do both of those. So, and a healthy heart. The last one I'll mention is um, learning how to have a resilient stress response. And this is something that I really started learning about as I became a coach. And I am getting to apply it in my life in a myriad of ways, and throughout the throughout the years, and for different reasons. But it is possible to learn how to respond in a healthy way, and this helps our gut flourish. Believe it or not, when we can lower our response to stress, you and I can't we can't do away with stress. It's just going to happen. But how we respond to it is what we can work towards. So, how do we do all of this? How do we get all of this real food, all of these vegetables, all of this fiber? How do we how do we do all of this? The fact is that only, according to the CDC, 1 in 10 adults in the US eat enough fruits and veggies. That's frightening. That's absolutely frightening. That's why we in the US have the worst disease, um, you know, profile of any country. It's terrible. So how can you and I be different? How can we change the trajectory of our families? If 1 in 10 adults, and let's be honest with ourselves, okay, so maybe I'm doing okay, but how could I do better? How could I get more so that I'm really flourishing? One of the ways that our family does this is by adding Juice Plus capsules and chewables to our diet. We've been eating Juice Plus for 22 years, and it's basically a wonderful fruits and vegetables and now omegas that have been gently freeze dried and put into capsules. They've been picked at their ripeness, just their best ripening stage. And so they have the most nutrition. And then they put in capsule and gummy form. And now there's even a stick of powder we call superfoods that includes the red fruits, the green vegetables, and I'm talking about the color of the bottles, and the purple berries. So it's got 30 different fruits and vegetables in this packet, which would be the same as eating the two capsules from each bottle from the first three bottles. And then the orange bottle are the omegas, which are plant-based. And omegas are very important. In fact, about a year, no, it's been about 9 months ago, I had my blood work done and I was low in my omega 3s. That was shocking to me. So I have added omegas regularly into my regime now. The other thing that we have recently added um, to our Juice Plus profile is a prebiotic and postbiotic. And our family is starting to add that too. So my husband and I are using it, and one of our daughters is using it. And we are seeing really special results, which, can be a little bit embarrassing to talk about. But let's just say things are moving very regularly. Things are formed really nicely. Uh, Energy has increased. And for some, their skin has improved. So this is a really neat um, two-step um, product that gives the prebiotics, or what we have been talking about, what are we going to feed these microbiota. So they are the things like your broccoli and your cruciferous vegetables, all the fiber. Well, the thing about this prebiotic is that it has things in it that you and I would not usually eat because difficult to find, or not available, or it isn't going to necessarily taste really good. But they have made it taste great. One of the prebiotic you mix into a liquid, and then the probiotic is in a capsule. And the probiotic has a capsule around it that makes it through the acidity of our stomach, and makes it into all the way through the small intestine and into the large intestine, which I'm just going to tell you that's the star of the show. That's the important thing that needs to be done, so that then it's planting seeds of good bacteria. It's like giving some extra guys. It's got a really good profile of different bacterial strains. So I would encourage you to consider this. Two-step system of a prebiotic and a probiotic. Uh, Even though I eat lots of fruits and vegetables and I eat very cleanly, I have added this and it has improved my gut health, hands down. And so I am super thrilled about that. If you're in my gut microbiome, impacts everything, and I think I've established that tonight, then it can and it will impact our holidays. So let's flourish during our holidays. Let's consider adding Juice Plus because none of us do it perfectly. None of us do it. In fact, when we start traveling or when guests start coming or when we've got all of these school events that happen, that's when things get tough to maintain our regular good eating habits. When we've got this Juice Plus bridging the gap between what we are trying to do and we know we want to do versus what is actually able to be done, then we've got our bases covered, and it's a beautiful thing. So I recently heard an occupational therapist who also loves Juice Plus, uh, Jamie Kinsey, say this. Some people are a little hesitant to have a subscription, and I know all of us figure out what's the good balance of subscriptions in our lives because everything's an app now, and everything wants to, get your dollar for the month. But we have subscriptions for things we want, don't we? We have Netflix, we have skincare, we have makeup, we have certainly have sports, news channels, whatever it is, music apps. Yes, I couldn't do through the holidays without my Spotify. So why not have one that invests in our health? Why would we not do that? First thing out of the gate is this is my budget and this is coming out first because then I'm able to flourish and help others do the same. So I would love for you to ask questions if you have any, or if you need to go, please feel free to scoot on out. But I so appreciate you listening, and I hope that you can take away something that will, um, again, kick us in the pants and get us to do a little bit more of one more thing. Um, so if anyone, yeah, Leanne, do you want
So
to?
great. So great. Right? Oh my goodness. Was anybody else taking notes like I was? Um, Such a great encouragement. Okay, so great. Elaine has her hand up for a question. We would love to hear your question.
Yes.
Yes. So I've been toying with what's a healthy breakfast. Now, we do our complete shakes for lunch.
Okay.
So I don't want to have a shake for breakfast and a shake for lunch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So can you give me some healthy breakfast ideas?
That's a great question. I love breakfast. So some of mine are uh, I make and I don't know if you eat dairy, but I make a super gut yogurt that's super easy to make, and I add all the, berries, and I add some pecans or some pumpkin seeds for extra protein on there, chia seeds. That's one thing. If you don't eat dairy, you can make that with, a non-dairy milk. Um, you can make overnight chia pudding with chia seeds and a nut milk. There's eggs are a wonderful breakfast. I know some people, I have two people in my family that will not eat eggs, but eggs are the perfectly balanced food between protein, fat, and several like choline, several things that are very important for our brain. So eggs are great. You can make them
Okay.
a lot of different ways. there's a fun, if you just look up an egg skillet, or frittata. Those are crustless types of egg dishes, and put in some fun favorite vegetables. I just learned that one that I loved, that I made for a brunch, and oh my goodness, it was so delicious. So play around with that. Um, Saute a few veggies with some onions and garlic, and throw some eggs in there and throw in the oven, and you can eat on it for days.
Mm.
That's a few ideas. Oatmeal is something I know a lot of people really like. Oatmeal is pretty high glycemic. So if you're going to have an oatmeal, make sure you're eating a lot of protein and a lot of fiber with it. And now it has some fiber of its own, but it's it doesn't really contain a lot of nourishment, and it's pretty high glycemic. So add some eggs, or add a lot of nuts, if you're going to make oatmeal, kind of the center of your breakfast.
Thank you so much. That was
You're
helpful.
welcome. Oh, good, Elaine. It was a great question. It's always fun to hear about other people and their breakfast choices. Some people like beef sticks or venison sticks, and an apple, all kinds of things. Yeah, Henry, that's a great idea to add complete to your oatmeal. You can really add complete to almost anything. Leanne was adding it to her coffee today, and
Hot chocolate. Oh,
making it
totally.
hot chocolate. So,
Yeah,
yeah. Um,
exactly.
Yeah, so avocado toast, yes, another good one because avocado is a great healthy fat. Put an egg on top. Yeah, it's a great, good high fiber bread. That's a good one, Leanne. Um, so y'all add it to your kids' oatmeal, the complete. Oh, I bet once they get used to that flavor, oh my goodness, Henry, they would not know what it was to go to a restaurant, just get plain old oatmeal with some butter in it. That's funny. I love that. Yeah, and complete is something I didn't put on the screen, but it's a wonderful whole meal replacement powder that Juice Plus has that is super nutritious. Uh,
And low glycemic.
yes, it's low
Right.
glycemic. It's very satisfying, it satiating.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really good one. Full of fiber, right, Carolyn? Yeah.
Extra protein.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love it.
So that's good. But I'm with you, Elaine. I can't do a shake every day. I mean, for every meal. I just yeah, I need I remember someone telling me one time, I need to chew something. That would be me. I like the experience of things in my mouth.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
thank
a
y'all so
great
much.
question. I think
Yeah.
all of us are going to expand our breakfast choices, right? That was a great question, Elaine, and lots of fun answers there. And I know we're at 8:15. I just wanted to say, Losiann, thank you so much for teaching us. Our family as well has been eating Juice Plus for 22 years, and it has been a game changer. And the older I get, the longer I've been eating it, the more thankful I am that I made that one simple change so many years ago. So I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. This is a beautiful conversation, and I love the timing of it right before the holidays to really kind of be thinking and practicing a little bit before all of that is here. So thank you, Losiann, so much. Thank you all for joining us, and good night,
Good
Good
night.
everyone.
night.
Good to be with y'all.
Yeah.
Good
Thank
night. Thank you.
you.